How could a simple soldier, with nothing but a sword and a shield, become one of the most respected men in the most powerful army in history? The journey to becoming a Roman centurion wasn't just brutal, it was glorious. But would you be willing to face the challenges required to get there? In ancient Rome, the position of centurion wasn't given, it was earned. Each promotion was a test of strength, discipline, and leadership. From the training fields to the front lines of the bloodiest battles, only the best survived. But what many don't realize is that the rise didn't depend solely on courage, but also on politics, alliances, and luck. Yes, not everyone who stood out made it to the top. Imagine the life of a young recruit, facing hunger, pain, and enemy steel just to prove his worth. Every victory, earned with sweat and blood, could bring him closer to the most coveted title. And when, at last, he donned the centurion's helmet, a heavier burden appeared on his shoulders. Leading 100 men, their lives, hopes, and glories all depended on his orders. Would you have what it takes to assume this position? How did this ascent work step by step? What deadly challenges had to be overcome? And most importantly, what transformed an ordinary soldier into an elite officer capable of leading Rome's armies to victory? In today's video, you'll follow the career of a Roman centurion, from the first day as a recruit to the peak as an elite leader. We'll explore the rigorous steps, the nearly impossible challenges, and the rewards reserved only for those who made it to the top. And who knows, you might see yourself reflected in the ambition, courage, and sacrifice of these extraordinary men. If you want to discover more stories about the backstage of power and glory in the Roman Empire, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Together, let's uncover the secrets that shaped history and the men who carried Rome on their shoulders. When a young Roman recruit first stepped into the training grounds, he had little idea of the transformation that awaited him. Most of these men were farmers, artisans, or laborers who had never wielded a sword, let alone stared down death on a battlefield. Yet Rome demanded not warriors, but the creation of warriors. On their very first day, the message became clear. Survival was earned, not guaranteed. Drill instructors, hardened veterans of countless campaigns, barked orders without mercy. Physical punishment was routine. Failure to meet a standard meant whips, exhaustion, and shame. But the true challenge wasn't just physical, it was psychological. Weakness had no place in the ranks, and only those who pushed past their breaking points would endure. Recruits marched under the unrelenting sun, carrying weights that seemed impossible, sometimes for days on end. Combat techniques were drilled until muscles screamed for relief, yet relief never came. A single mistake, a dropped shield or a missed block, meant bruises and scars inflicted not by the enemy, but by their own comrades or commanders. Even meals became tools of discipline. Rations were scarce, and hunger became a constant companion, forcing men to adapt to scarcity. This wasn't just training, it was a deliberate process of weeding out weakness. The reward for enduring this torment? Acceptance. Becoming a soldier in the Roman legions was the first great victory, an honor that few could claim. Yet this harsh training served a greater purpose: unity. Soldiers who bled and suffered together forged bonds that made them unbreakable in battle. They learned to obey orders without question and to trust their leaders as if their lives depended on it, because they did. The brutal regimen left no room for individuals. It created a collective force, ready to fight and die as one. The hardest trials shaped the most dedicated men, and through pain, they found strength. But physical resilience was only the first step on the long road to glory. The path to leadership required more than grit and endurance. How could a common soldier, no matter how tough or disciplined, rise above his peers and earn the respect needed to become a centurion? The answer lay in something far more complex than courage on the battlefield, a delicate dance between valor, loyalty, and politics. The Roman legions prided themselves on meritocracy. At least, that's how it appeared on the surface. Soldiers who distinguished themselves in combat could find themselves promoted to higher ranks, starting as optios, junior officers who acted as second-in-command to centurions. Stories were told of heroes who saved their comrades or commanders during battles, earning on-the-spot promotions. For many, these tales became the dream they chased, the belief that bravery alone could win them a place among Rome's elite. But in reality, the system was far more nuanced and far less fair. While valor on the battlefield mattered, it wasn't always enough. A soldier could fight with unmatched courage, yet still remain overlooked. The Roman military was also deeply political, and promotions often came down to alliances and loyalty. Those who built relationships with their superiors or proved themselves useful beyond combat gained favor. Saving a commander in battle was one way to earn recognition, but so was carrying out less glamorous tasks, guarding vital supplies, maintaining discipline, or even delivering messages with precision. Sometimes loyalty to the right leader mattered more than spilling enemy blood. This mix of merit and politics meant that the path to centurion wasn't just about skill with a sword, but also about playing a careful game. Soldiers who understood the dynamics of the legion could use them to their advantage. Friendships with officers, acts of unwavering obedience, and even moments of well-timed bravery all served as tools for advancement. For some, the system seemed unfair, especially to those who risked their lives without receiving due recognition. For others, it offered opportunity, a chance to shape their destiny, even if it meant manipulating the unseen rules of the game. Yet, for those who climbed through the ranks, one challenge remained: leadership. Could a man who once stood in the ranks inspire 100 others to march into the jaws of death? The transition from soldier to centurion required far more than loyalty or skill. It demanded the ability to command, inspire, and sacrifice. But how did a soldier prove himself worthy of that honor when the true test awaited on the battlefield? Earning the title of centurion was both a triumph and a burden. As a soldier, a man fought alongside his peers, sharing their victories and hardships. As a centurion, he became responsible for their very lives. The role demanded leadership that extended far beyond the battlefield. A centurion trained his men, disciplined them, and ensured they were ready to fight without hesitation. He became their example, the one who stood taller, fought harder, and suffered first. In every sense, he embodied Rome's military power. But it was during battles that a centurion truly earned his place. Unlike modern commanders who directed troops from a distance, centurions led from the front. They were the first to charge into enemy lines, their crested helmets making them unmistakable targets. A centurion's courage had to be absolute. Hesitation was not an option. His men watched his every move, drawing strength from his resolve. If he faltered, they faltered. The weight of 100 lives rested on his shoulders, and the cost of failure was paid in blood. This leadership came at a personal price. Centurions were often the most scarred men on the battlefield, their bodies marked by years of war. Every wound was a badge of honor, proof of their courage and resilience. Yet, these scars were more than just physical. They carried the weight of sacrifices made and men lost under their command. The emotional toll was heavy, but it was one they bore willingly. A centurion's strength came not from avoiding death, but from embracing it as a constant companion. For those who survived and thrived, the rewards were immense: wealth, respect, and influence. Centurions became legends within their legions, their names spoken with reverence by the men they led. But even as they claimed this glory, another question lingered. Was the price they paid worth the honor they achieved? Becoming a centurion offered rewards beyond imagination for a common soldier. Rome showered its leaders with gold, land, and titles. They gained influence in the legions and sometimes even beyond, earning the ear of commanders or politicians. In many ways, a centurion was the embodiment of success, a man who had risen from obscurity to a position of authority and respect. Their bravery and leadership were immortalized in stories told across generations, securing their place in the history of Rome's military dominance. But this success came at a heavy cost. Centurions lived lives of constant sacrifice, often spending years away from their families. For many, There was no peaceful retirement. Death claimed them in the chaos of battle, where their unyielding leadership often placed them in the line of fire. Even those who survived carried the burden of every man they had lost. Soldiers who trusted them, followed them, and died under their command. This responsibility defined a centurion's legacy, a bittersweet reminder of both their triumphs and their failures. Yet, despite the hardships, centurions were the backbone of the Roman army. Without their leadership, discipline, and sacrifice, Rome's legions would have crumbled. They were the men who turned farmers and laborers into warriors and led those warriors to victory. Their impact extended far beyond their time, shaping the course of history and ensuring Rome's dominance for centuries. But as we look back on their legacy, one question remains. Were these centurions heroes who embodied the best of Rome? Or were they simply men who paid the ultimate price for the ambitions of an empire? And perhaps more importantly, what lessons do their lives hold for us today? If you've been captivated by the journey of a centurion, from humble recruit to elite officer, then you'll want to explore the fate of entire Roman legions that vanished from history. How could such powerful forces simply disappear? In this next video, we dive into the mysteries surrounding legions like Legio IX Hispana and Legio XXI Dioteriana, whose stories were lost to time. Was it betrayal, battle, or something even darker? Click the link to uncover the secrets behind these forgotten legions and the commanders who led them.